Hello, welcome to day 3 of NextFest. Today we are going to see a bunch of behind the scenes, work in progress, various amounts of doneness going out here, but it's very fun to see all the tools and toys that you get to use on other planes. So I'm levitating currently. Gonna go over here. I'm gonna show off some air stuff. I'm gonna show off a little shadow stuff, which is super fun. And then we're gonna move on to the fire plane later. One quick fun thing that I'm going to show too. So if you don't know, you can hotkey spells. So levitate, for example, if I mouse over this and press 1 right now, I'm going to probably make a better way to do it in the future, but you can still just hotkey levitate and just go cruising around. So that's super fun. One other thing to note, I have everything unlocked in here. So if I go to the research tree, if anybody wants to see how big this crazy research tree gets, this is the current size of the research tree. So this is what you're used to seeing. There's tier 1 for all of these. Tier 2s are out here, tier 3s are out here, and then all the elements have those as well. And then they have their own versions of split things that all have their upgrades. And we're going to go through at least some of this today. Probably not all of it, but a good fair bit of it. So without further ado, we are in air, which means we have no access to Earth. We're exactly opposite Earth. So let's talk about grippers, because that's one of the biggest things you're missing. So air grippers, you'll notice, air grippers have a triangular footprint to them. So they go like this. So if you grab here and here, it will go from both of those. I guess I'll just we'll do this, and we'll put ether in here. We'll put salt in there. And it'll braid those two in. So you have 2 ins to 1 out. You also can flip this. So there's a tech to do this, and there's also a couple other ways. But if I press F, it will braid back out that way. So you can swap which way you go with this. You also have reaching, which is the same basic vibe as they're called Whipwind grippers. Same basic vibe as Earth reaching grippers, but they've got the extra range on them. So if we go like this, and give it a little power, and I don't know, we can just start blocking out from here to, let's see, I didn't set myself up at all for this. We'll just do this, and we'll do this, really just demonstrating how they work so that you can figure out how you want to do your logistics with them. Honestly, this is about being creative with the puzzles. So it'll braid that way, braid this way, you can get them on, and you'll have your own new menagerie of stuff. What, isolated node to the southwest? I don't know. Oh, there's just, this is air, an air moat field right here, and there's these little like crystalline whipwind things. So anyway, air grippers. Air also has access to power. So there's life power, and we're gonna have air and wind power with air. So the way air works is, rather than the day-night cycle, it's going to have a wind setup. So right now we've got about a medium wind, and it kind of gusts up and down as we go. In the research tree, nothing's isolated. Everything's attached. There is a potential to go all the way outside the research tree and kind of link up on the other side, but that's super future us. I shouldn't have even said that out loud. Let's be fair. One other thing about air is that everything, I'm going to turn this light on real quick. One other thing about air is that it connects your corridors, and it relies on empty airspace. So you notice this says empty air tiles. Air is about as much open air as you possibly can. So, you're talking about the end things here. So there's a end game research for every element when you are filling up the master portal, where effectively it's the infinite research, if you like. So we can amplify solar power forever. We can amplify mining speed forever. Once you've fulfilled your rocket, your elemental orb for that element, you can continue to research, and you'll have like your infinite research there. So every element has one of those. That's what you were seeing that was here. Anyway, back to air. So we can connect a network like this, and then all of these, you can notice that they're spreading across these currents. There's no effects on this yet. Working on the gameplay first, we'll do the visuals second. But so if you have a structure here, I think we had some, oh yeah, they're right on here. So if I just pick up some grindstones, for example, this is in the corridor of the air path, so this is now fully powered with these guys. So you have kind of a grid of things. Once you develop your airfield, however you want to do that spatially, there's a gust funnel, which will split like this. So you're kind of creating like a lattice of power. One thing that I plan on doing, I haven't done it yet for this build, is I'm going to make an upgrade so that these go much further, like twice as far. So that really it's about making a giant airfield of power, having kind of a dedicated space in your base for that, and then being able to split and funnel air across power lines. So you have a lot of empty space to work with as opposed to routes, for example. And then you have to be careful about where you put them in order to get the power where you need to go. It doesn't just stop at wind turbines, though. We also have gale generators. So these are like amplifiers. If you watched me play with canopies yesterday, it's kind of the same thing. So here, this is an amplifier for any wind turbine attached to it. So if I grab a turbine, go here, I'm sure the eagle eyes among you will notice that the grid isn't showing up for this, and yes, I need to get that working, but that's why it's not part of the demo. But yeah, so this is all one giant air network now, and you can also split this so like these can connect here. Looks like I'm off by one, but you get the idea. Let's go put this there. There we go. This one's too far away, that was the problem. So when you're making your airfield, you have a different logistics setup, and you kind of need to clear away space. So even this little tree here, this, what's it called? A rhymewood. This has 26 open air tiles, and I believe this should turn to 27. Yep, there you go. So you want to have open space for these. You don't necessarily want to weave them in the same way that you would for like a cultivator, for example. Further, we're going to talk about shadow rituals a little bit. So this is the first, do I want to do shadow rituals first or Icar? We'll do shadow rituals. Okay, so this game is heavily inspired by modded Minecraft in general. One of my favorite mods was Astral Sorcery. And Astral Sorcery had constellations that you could attune yourself to. So drawing inspiration from that and from buildings that generally increase like throughput or have special like area effects like beacons in Minecraft, that's what a mushroom ritual, a rune shroom ritual will do. So here I have all of the rituals unlocked, and if I click on one of these, a constellation draws on the ground. And if I fill that in like this, oop, that's the wrong thing. So this is looking for shade caps. This will create an area effect inside this area that has a benefit. There's things like you can reach inside this area from any distance. So if I'm like all the way over here or all the way over here, I can interact with that. There are things that increase your wind generation. There are things that increase your damage when you're dealing with entropy. There's a lot of different rituals that you get to choose to do from here. You don't necessarily need to use that interface either. Like if you know what the ritual looks like if I go, let's see how good my memory is. If I go here and I'm just a super mage and I do this, it will automatically detect that that's, I think that's Dark Reach, Dark Seer. There's a bunch of different rituals that that you can do in here. And then also, when you're building your air setup, there's one called Tailwind that, let's see if I can hit this right. It's here. There we go. And then this one is right there. I think Tailwind is a different air one, but I put a cloud cap here, 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 here. And then that's powered by this, and it's also amplifying the power of this. So there's a bunch of different ways to do that. So the way it works is if you've got buildings that are overlapping any of this at all, they get the benefit from it. Some of them are faster production speed. There's also Echo Catcher, which is a duplicator of crafting, kind of like an extra like 10% chance to get a second copy of something, and that's one of the core mechanics that Shadow has. Shadow also has a bunch of production structures that are kind of like wrangly and things that kind of weave in and out of this, so it's part of your logistics puzzle. Speaking of other Shadow stuff, let's talk about Icar Slick. So water uses streamways, earth uses chests, and Shadow uses Icar Slick, which I'm probably going to show a little bit more off on the fire plane. But this is very still temp art. but effectively is a tar pool that you put down. And I actually want to talk about the kit for Shadow a little bit. So Shadow, to me, is kind of like, it's an excuse to do a little bit of sci-fi things in the space. One of the conceits that I really like is there's this thought experiment where, like, if you're shining a light up at the moon and you have your thumb in front of the light and you move your thumb back and forth, the shadow of your thumb is theoretically traveling like way faster than light speed, right? Like you can get it to travel across and cast a shadow across the entire moon very quickly. And then also shadows are cool in that you can have two shadows that overlap and kind of share the same position, and then they have two different places they're cast back to. So how that casts to this game is when I have an Ickerslick pool like this, and I put something in it like this. Ickerslick is kind of like superpositional logistics. It is, oh, I've got two different things on this belt. I should fix that 1 second. So Ickerslicks can only carry one thing at a time, one ingredient at a time. Sorry, let me get this set back up. Let's pull out of here like this, and this, and this. And then we can pull in something else that we've got in abundance. So let's do, I'm going to put a, oh, I can't put that down because it's not in the right plane. Let's do this, and let's do this. So I am putting in fire here, and that's living at every single point along the belt, no matter how far it is away, but it's only one entity at a time. So I can be having something put in way over here, and I can have it pull out all the way over here instantly. And so what's the catch, you ask? The catch is if you ever touch two pools together, they can't coexist. So if I have one here, and we'll fill that up with, oh, that's not going to work. It's just going to pull in the same one. We'll go here, here, here. So let's put back to here. So we've got fire in here. And I'm going to stick some, I don't know, salt prisms in here. So now we have two pools. Oh, by the way, the mechanic for this is every spot holds exactly one. So the inventory size, if you like, of the Ickerslick pool is the size of the pool itself. There's also ways to go underground and things like that. But anyway, so I have these two connected to each other. If I connect them like this, you will just lose everything that was attached to one of them. So you have to be very careful when you're dealing with Ickerslick. It's super powerful, but things can just vanish. And so all of that elemental fire that we had sitting in here is now gone. And that's Ickerslick. So I would love to move to Shadow in Fire. I think that's everything. Yeah, we can move on. What happens if you cut a pool in half? It will be half and half. So it still maintains the two pools that it had. And then you can split from there and continue your stuff. So super good for mining, super good for weaving stuff across your base. It's kind of like half chest, half streamway, and in a new way that is, I don't know, I haven't seen it before. It just kind of seemed like the right thing to do at the time. All right, we're going to move on to the fire plane and show off some other fun things. So again, Shadow is available once you get to air or fire. You can come at it from either side. And Shadow is going to be one of the ways that you get things in between planes the easiest. Shadow still can't be built on the life plane, but there are plenty of ways for you to get stuff back there through other means. Once you unlock Shadow in order to get access to even better things. So one of the things I'm going to show off, I'll just show it off right now actually. Shadow has ender chests. They're called void chests in here. So if you know Minecraft has ender chests, which is basically a shared inventory. It's kind of the same concept as we just showed for Ickerslick, but let's set up a mining encampment here. Oh, this is one thing to show. So if you haven't seen it yet, different collectors have multiple inputs. And so here, this earth collector array will technically output to all 4 of the slots here. So those 2 are shared, those 2 are shared. So I'm actually going to do, let's do a quick little setup here. I mean, no, I should really show off what void chests do. So I'm going to put a void chest here, 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 here. Sure, all of them. That's fine. Did I miss one? There we go. Ah, that's what I did. Off by 1. Okay. So if I open this void chest over here, there is, oh, there's some stuff left over in it. Haha, because this is a save game. So void chest is empty. If I start powering these 2 up and watch this chest, it will start filling up with everything that's filling up in these chests. So this all gets shared into these, and I can open this chest from anywhere. So I can have a setup over here where I'm pulling out my earth if I want to have, say, magma grippers. So magma grippers are self-powered grippers, also because they're earth. They can pull out 6 things at a time. So I can do this vibe. Get a little power in here because we don't have that just yet. So I can mine in one completely different part of the map and then start my extra smelting and extra grinding activities elsewhere. And there's plenty of ways to do it. Now the catch, of course, is that there's only one of these that you can use. And so as you are deciding what resource you want to use, how you want to fill it, how you want to use it, do you want to use it for personal storage? Do you want to just be able to like plop one down and have extra space? Or do you want to do other things with it? Notice that when you pick it up, there's nothing to pick up because there's nothing in that chest really. It's just stored in the void. Because this is shadow and we have fire and air adjacent to it, there are a fire version as well and an air version as well. So anything I put in here, again, saved, sorry about that. So if I put these in here, hopefully this works. Yeah, okay. So the squall chest has a separate inventory from the fire chest, has a separate inventory from the void chest, and those are the 3 that you get to use. But again, the fire and air versions can't be used on their opposing planes, so you have to decide which get used where and all of that fun. And then of course you can still use your Ichor Slick in here, just like you would for anything else. And pipe things out and do all that funness. So we'll do this, we'll add this here, and now these are everywhere. And I can pipe that to a different part. So, super fun. Let's move on to firepower. So firepower is going to use lava barriers. Lava barriers are a free-form way to do power. So the very simplest lava barrier you make looks like this. And the way the mechanic works here is any lava tile attached to a wall or next to a wall generates a little bit of power. It also needs elemental fire to get kick-started. So like this. So we're generating 18 power because we've got the number of cells in here next to walls. The ones that are in corners count twice, that sort of thing. And that's generating. If I place a pedestal in the middle of here, it will burn an additional elemental fire. And we've doubled to 36 because this counts as a barrier also. So every single spot in here counts for power adjacent to a wall and adjacent to here. And then the catch is that this is going to be burning elemental fire twice as fast. So you get to decide what whether you want efficiency or whether you want throughput or whether you want aesthetics. So if I make a shape like this, for example, and let's see, we're going to go, where'd you go? Here. I think I made this exact same shape in the trailer because it's so fun to make. Oh, it's close. Where are we gonna go? Here. I got lost, but this is fine. Oh, I'm inside. One moment. So anyway, and then in here, this is generating even more, 90 power, and then you fill this with altars, pedestals, sorry. Grab a bunch of pedestals. And then, so you can choose, for example, to space them out like this. You can also go further if you want more throughput, and everything in between. So you can see this is draining super fast, but it's also generating power. Needs to be tuned. I have to go in and make sure that it's balanced with everything else. We've done a bit of balancing on the life side and the air side, so this needs to be balanced as well. Then there is an earth fire building called the combustion chamber, which has this shape and is an amplified version of that. The extra resource for fire is ingots, and possible that this is going to burn from ingots, depends, but still just a way to generate more power and take advantage of your earth fire synergy. And then in terms of transferring, we have the power poles that everybody is used to from other games that it's called Firewire. And Firewire will do your typical power setup with this little trail of lights. And then we have thermal towers as well that go even further. This, I think it's like here. Yeah, you get the idea. So your substations, your bigger power areas. And then fire never throttles. So fire is a little bit more like nuclear power in games, where it effectively just burns until it runs out of fuel. And so that combined with your Ichor, you can set up a suite of, if you're mining elemental fire from one area, we'll put a big chest down to simulate that. You've got elemental fire going here, and you can pipe it using a magma gripper here, and then you can have that pipe down in here like that, and that'll pick up 6 at a time. On and on and on. There you go. Very much look forward to see the shapes and designs people come up with that. Where are we going to go next? Okay, we're going to go to something that came up just recently. So I would love to show even further behind the scenes of how buildings start. So this is called a charged lodestone. And notice it says thermal radar. We used to have a radar on the game, but that's back when we had a different enemy style. So before we do any art for any building, this is what it looks like. We kind of choose a shape. We choose a border for it to be based on like how we want it to work mechanically, how we want it to feel. And in this case, this was a solution for a problem of when you go to the earth plane and you lose access to water, there's a couple different ways to move stuff around. There's this nice building called a expansive chest. An expansive chest kind of lets you create an ad hoc transportation network this way. So if you like, you can move like some keystones in here, and that's moving 6 at a time. You can also double it up if you like, and you can go like here would be fine. A little bit further. And there you can go like 2 at a time, or 12 at a time in this case. Actually, you can go even more than 12 at a time because Titanic grippers can do even more than that. But this is a way to move stuff around when you are dealing with Earth. But it wasn't quite enough. It is very cool. Like, it's nice that you've got this like big, thick chest of a bunch of stuff that you can attach a bunch of grindstones to, so you can do an entire array right here, and everything gets access to it instantly, which is fun. But one thing that was apparent is we don't have like trains in the game, right? Like, what's the conceit for a train in a fantasy game? And we came up with one. So I'm going to take that same chest. I'm actually going to start with something a little bit smaller. No, I'm not. We're going to use this. Okay, so charged lodestone, you have to use your imagination. There's going to be a big, basically a magnetic stone here that will suck in magnetic energy and push this chest out. So if I put this here, it'll fire it in this direction. And wherever it hits a collision, it will stop. So if I put another lodestone here, again, needs power, it'll have its own interface, that sort of thing. But you can effectively create a super nudger, if you like. It's kind of how it started, right? It was nudge. And like, what happens if we just nudge until we stop? And that's effectively what this turned into, or what this came from. Because of the implications of different chest sizes, you can do some very crazy and fun things with this. So like, let's set up this. And let's put a triangular chest. Let's eyeball this real quick. We're gonna go here. Is that gonna work? And then maybe here. There. We'll see how good my eyes are. So if I stick a triangle here, and this nudges that way. Oh, we missed. Okay, so let's nudge this into position. And let's try again. So that's gonna fire here. That's gonna come across to here. Oh, nudge. Let's go that way. Is that gonna work? I feel like we're gonna miss by one. Let's nudge this, and then let's nudge this way. And see if that lines up. Oh, wrong way. Okay. Here. And there. Do we make it? Oh, we hit a rock. Let's do one more time. Right there. So close. We need to go there, and we're fine. So you can make long logistics networks with this. There'll be upgrades to launch it even further. There'll be timers for it. There'll be different ways to go, and you can make plenty of crazy pinball machines and whatever you feel like doing with this crazy contraption. There's one more kind of significant implication of this, which I discovered as we were building this. So I'm going to go away from the trains for a second. Let's go. I mean, this is fine. So if I build a simple small network here, like here and here, for example, and I have a super large chest like this. So this is an ancient chest. This grows roots underneath it as it grows. And I nudge this into position here. There we go. So that's going to go back and forth just like that. Because this grows roots under it, when it lands, you can, for example, have a root network here that then hooks up to this when it gets there. So now that's connected, and then it disconnects itself and go up here. And I was joking when we discovered this that it's like, oh, we just built like a mechanical switch. We backdoored Turing into the game. So very much looking forward to seeing how people use this to create power networks, to split power networks, to not. There's a bunch of fun, creative ways to have that just be a little playground and puzzle for you to spend time with. Let's see. I don't know. I think that's actually most of what I wanted to show. Just a bunch of fun things that we're working with. So that charged lodestone is going to be right here in the tree once you get to fire and earth. There's also a basalt chest. I guess I didn't show off yet, but basalt chest is a half thermal tower, half chest. So it looks like this. So this will connect up to your, let me go move it down. So this will act just like a thermal tower, but also be a chest that you can put a good bit of stuff into. You can use that to power local things. So it's a little bit like Mana Bloom, but it also is a container. So you can use that as a central mining coordinate. Oh, we got a couple of stragglers over here. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's most of what I wanted to show off. I don't think we're going to do any like significant hardcore base building today. Mostly I wanted to lift up the curtain and show the rest of the research tree, or at least kind of what that looks like. There's a couple of the callouts I guess I could do while I'm in here. So every element has its own miner that has its own, or collector, sorry, that has its own way of collecting motes in this space. There's a luminarium here and a pyrolyzer. So pyrolyzer and brinery here are ways to increase your salt and ether output. So you can think of like a solar array that's blasting things and getting a little bit more energy out of it. That's the pyrolyzer. And then there is the Luminarium here, which will create a variety of lights. Really, it's just decoration, but I don't know. I think decoration's still important in a game where there's hexes and flowers and things. Some people will want to make a base that looks really pretty and interesting, and that's super fine. The Terrace of Trails, likewise, is a way to create paths. So the Swift Stone we have here, that's nice and vanilla, but we're going to have one for every single element just so that you can make your base look how you want it to. And what else do we have? We have slipways and umbral waygates, which are still very much work in progress, but they are ways for you to teleport around. So if you're looking for a teleport pad to get to different places of your base or even in between planes, that's what that's going to be. What else? I don't know. I think that's probably going to be it for today. If anybody has any questions, by all means, hop on our Discord, hang out. I think on the next behind the scenes we're going to do, or the next Steam NextFest thing we're going to do, I'm going to show off a bunch of builds. People have been pretty active in the Discord showing different ways that they found to do their hexagonal logistics and lean in to the hex grid. Don't shy away from the hex grid, lean into the hex grid. And we'll show off some cool designs that people have made there. I think that's going to be it for the day. I will put this up on YouTube, and I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya.